All right, here we go.
Here we go.
What's up, party people? This is the place to be for your one-shop stop fitness, nutrition, pet peeves, scary stories, fun games, lots of laughs.
Hey, that's a lot. Let's go.
If you didn't know by now, you are watching episode 4 of A Very Cool Motherfucking Podcast,
Woo,
bitch.
woo.
Okay, sorry, that was kind of aggressive.
It was good.
I was excited.
That.
I was excited.
I
I'm
like that
excited.
intro,
All right.
yeah.
Your hosts are Shay Baby, Christie Baby, and Liliana, who is also a baby having a nap today.
No.
So be quiet. Keep it down. She's resting.
Yeah.
Anyways, welcome to the episode. Shay, tell them people what they need to do.
Y'all, if you like the video, leave it a like. If you, whatever you want to see in the future, whatever you liked, whatever you didn't like, comment it down below. To help us grow this channel, please hit that subscribe button.
Hit it.
And that notification bell so you get notified every time we post gold on this channel every Wednesday.
4 p.m. PST.
Let's go.
Let's go. That was exciting ass intro.
Yeah.
I'm thrilled. I'm absolutely thrilled. We're gonna start off this episode with my pet peeve for this episode. It was a little redundant. My pet peeve, one of my biggest pet peeves, and this is funny, I've talked to you about this before. It has to do with podcasts, and it has to do with people swallowing on the microphone like this. I don't know if you guys could hear that. It drives me up a wall. I can't stand it. Also, they seem to like not be able to stop swallowing. Like they'll say 3 words and then it's like a gulp, and then 3 more words and then it's like a gulp, and it just makes me crazy. You know that thing that you were talking about with the chewing? I actually was wondering if this aligns with that, because it literally makes me angry. Like, I literally will listen to podcasts where they keep swallowing, and I'm like, I will yell at the podcast, like, stop swallowing on the microphone. Drives me crazy. You see these? We detach. We detach. So I go over here, swallow. Then I bring it back. I don't know. That's
Yeah.
just me.
No, I get that. That is like a very specific noise too. Does it bother you in person if you can hear someone swallow?
No, because it's not amplified
I just
through
swallowed.
speak. Yeah, I didn't hear you.
Yeah, I don't know if it was on
I'll
the
probably
mic,
hear you
though.
when I'm editing this.
Edit that out.
No, but it's like, it's different because it's not amplified like in these podcasts, and like obviously, you know, I understand that part of them can't help it because they're just using like high tech, high quality equipment as well, so it's gonna pick up more. It's gonna be extra crispy. I understand that, but I don't need to hear your extra crispy saliva swallow. But that's one of my pet peeves is like people on microphones swallowing.
I get that. I wouldn't love the noise if I heard it. I really haven't noticed it much. What made you like just realize it?
Like literally just listening to podcasts.
Just
Listening to podcasts. And here's the thing, I'm not a hater on men. I love men, but I mostly notice it with men on podcasts. I can't tell you why. I have heard, there's only one instance of a woman that I heard do it, and it was like one time on one episode. I will say I think I did it on episode 1 of our podcast because I took a sip of coffee and it was during the intro and you said something funny or something funny happened, and I had to swallow it or I was going to spit it out everywhere. And you can subtly hear it, but there was a lot going on, so it doesn't stick out as like when people are in conversation and they have to pause and swallow and it's just recorded into the microphone. They're not consciously trying to be gross or like swallow on the mic. Everyone needs to swallow. Sometimes your throat gets dry. You're talking a lot. I totally get it, but it's just the sound of it is
irking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you always had that
I didn't
struggle?
notice this as an issue until I started listening to podcasts.
Huh.
But again, I think it's because it's on microphones.
Yeah,
And it's just
it's
picking up that
just
sound.
picking
It
up.
just is what it is.
It's like ASMR swallowing.
Yeah, which some people probably that's like so soothing, but for me it's makes
Yeah.
me feel crazy.
Yeah, I get that. I get that.
Yeah.
Noises like that, I don't like. Any kind of saliva-based noise doesn't.
Unless it's a dog.
Yeah, that's so different.
It's so cute when Lily's like,
Yeah.
so cute.
I would literally hold the mic up to her.
Oh,
Just listen
hell
to it.
yeah.
That's how much
It's
I
so
love it.
cute. There's actually a creator, I don't know the name at all, that has, I think, like 1 or 2 pit bulls, and she does these like ASMR videos of like grooming them. So the mic will be somewhere, and it's weird because you can't see where the mic is, but it picks up the sound. So like she'll be like rubbing coconut oil in the dog's fur, and it feels good to the dog. And you know when they do that, when they're like feeling, you know, comfy like that. It's anyway, it's really cute. And it's just her dog, like, and it's just the little sounds of the little grooming. And anyway, that's cute as hell. But this thing, I don't know if you could hear it. Do it. Try to do it. You just swallow and have the mic close. Yeah. We'll see when we edit it. But I just, and I know nobody can help it. It's a human thing. We all need to do it. But
it's like my chewing thing.
yeah,
like...
just don't do it on the mic. Just don't do it on the mic.
True. If you gotta swallow, just
That's what I do. You see, I've probably done it 3 times. That's why, like, I'll move the mic away. Oh, I just did it while I'm trying to talk. My bad. But and like, anyway, it just is what it is. But so my little pet peeve.
All right. Well, that was a good one.
My little PP.
PP of the week.
All right. Is it scary story time already?
No, it's main topic.
Oh gosh, I was like, what are we doing next? I forgot. I got nervous.
All right, now we're gonna move into the main topic of this video, which is a serious topic, and it is body dysmorphia. We understand that it's a constant battle that we both fight every day still, but this is what we've kind of done to feel better about it and to be able to fight the battle in a more healthy way. So, I mean, for me, body dysmorphia kind of got me started in the gym because when I was in college, I got depressed and I gained a bunch of weight. I gained 15 pounds. And that's the first time since ever that I've been that weight and also like out of shape because I've always been in sports. And when I went to college, I wasn't. So I noticed my body change a lot. And that's what got me into the gym. So that like viewing myself in the mirror and not liking it, it kind of turned into something positive because it got me into the gym and trying to work on it and work towards feeling better about it. And what I learned when I went to the gym and tried to fix my body was that that wasn't possible. For one, you can't fix your body. Your body looks how it looks, and you can do things to make it look different. Like you can be skinnier or bigger or more muscular or whatever, more lean. But overall, it's going to come down to, for me, not comparing myself to other people and how they look, and also being comfortable in the body that I have, and talking to myself positively about my own body. And that's kind of where I went with my body dysmorphia journey. Was I went down this dark path with it for a while, just struggling constantly. And honestly, getting into the gym helped me at first, but it also made me realize a lot of the flaws that I had, that I thought I had, by being around a bunch of other fit people. But that's when it kind of dawned on me that it was more internal rather than like just my physical appearance. It was me comparing myself to other people. And that was bringing me down more than just looking at my own body and comparing it to itself, how it looked a year ago or how it could look in a year if I be consistent in the gym and on my nutrition and stuff like that. But yeah.
No, I think the comparison one is, I mean, what's that quote they say, like,
comparison is the thief of joy.
Yeah, you got it. That's exactly what, and it's like, it really truly is. And, you know, in my experience, it's a little different because it wasn't always gym related. It was just about like the constant trending of what the beauty standards were. And for me, when I was young, you had to have like small butt, small waist, flat tummy, and then like big boobs. I knew that that was something I would never like naturally have, but that was what I really thought was like it was to be a woman. And so I talked about poorly about my body for a long time. Like I would always joke that I had like a little boy's body because I wasn't super voluptuous, and it was hard for me for a long time to feel feminine or think that I was feminine. And I didn't have an issue about losing any sort of femininity with lifting in that way. In fact, if anything, for me, I feel like my body has filled out more in feminine ways that I really like. Like I was just such a skinny kid when I was young, and so lifting actually helped me bring out more of my feminine qualities, which I'm really grateful for. But, you know, we've talked about this is like I've had such a weird I guess just like relationship with body dysmorphia, and I'll put some images on the screen. The reason that I want to share certain images of myself and talk about it is because I want people to understand that body dysmorphia and your mind can be a very like intense place, and almost like it's almost like I don't know, extremely just like freaky how it changes like your perception of yourself and your image of yourself. And so what I mean is like I have photos, like there's one I'm thinking of right now that I'll put on the screen where I remember when I recorded this image, I remember as I was doing the handstand and the forearm stand, thinking that I wish I was more fit. And like, you're probably seeing the image now, and it's like, where was I not fit? Like, it's the craziest thing. But I didn't feel that at that time. And I've always had that. Like, I can look back on images and videos of myself, and I'm like, wow, I actually remember very clearly how harshly I was judging my body, how like, just the things I was nitpicking at. And when I look at them now with more mature eyes, I'm like, you looked amazing. And I still do that now. We shoot a lot of our content in the gym when we're training together, and I'll go in feeling so gross, and I'll look at the videos later and I'm like, you look really strong. Like, what are you talking about? No matter who it is, like you don't know what's going on in their head, and you don't know how twisted it is. I'm aware that when I look in the mirror, I see a completely different person than what the majority of the world around me sees. And I know how crazy it is, but I still can't see with a different lens sometimes. You know, some of the stuff you hit on, like talking positively to yourself, not comparing and stuff like that is so important. I definitely try to look at myself in the mirror literally naked and be like, you look good. Like, I
Yeah.
really do. And I think it's really important to have those moments with yourself. And you don't need to ask anyone else what they think. Like,
Yeah.
you look in the mirror and you say that you love what you see. That's what's most important. I have,
Every shape or form.
yeah. And I do have more to say, but is there more that you want to add before I go into that?
Yeah, I think also some body dysmorphia issues that people deal with that are already in fitness are around like bulking and cutting too. Just because you see your body at a really lean point where you have six pack and you're looking shredded,
And you
but then
sacrificed a lot for it.
yeah, you work really hard for that body. But then to build that muscle to look better the next time you cut, you need to bulk up to build some more muscle. And that's really hard. It's really hard on your mind because you're going from this like super fit, athletic version of yourself to a little bit more body fat and a little more sluggish, maybe. Like it's just not as motivating in the mirror. But yeah, that's also where a little bit of my body dysmorphia comes from, is just going back and forth between bulking and cutting so often. I've seen my body super lean and I've seen it like a little bit more chubby too. So yeah, just learning to love yourself in every shape or form, standing in front of the mirror when you're naked, bulking and saying, I love myself just as much as when I'm shredded, you know? Yeah.
We have to also accept the reality that just because you hit your target weight or shape, it's not permanent. Things always flux. I mean, my body changes from the morning to the evening, even.
100%.
You know, a
Yeah.
lot of days. And so it's like,
Especially with women,
oh, yeah.
like all of our hormones and our periods and things like
Oh
that.
my gosh.
We're on a roller coaster
When I am on
constantly.
my period, I just hold water.
Oh yeah,
Hold water, and
bloated.
it's right here in the low belly, like fupa area.
Me
And I
too.
hate every image of it when it's happening, and I hate how it feels. And I know that it's just like a natural thing and it's not permanent, but it's like, you know how all of us women I know out there are relating right now. Like, it's such an uncomfortable time every month that we deal with, and it's hard.
Yeah. No,
Um,
I've had clients like step on the scale during their periods
oh
and
gosh, and you
they're
can't
up,
count that.
you
Of
know,
course you're up.
6 pounds or whatever. It's like I've literally fluctuated on my period like up 8 pounds before and dropped it
Wow, I believe
all
that.
like 3 days after my period. So your body is gonna fluctuate.
That's totally normal. And to have any sort of expectation that it should stay the same every single day or for an extended period of time is, you have to let go of that.
Yeah, it's unrealistic.
It's very unrealistic. And another thing I wanted to talk about was social media and comparison. If you follow my Instagram, like, you see that I follow very few accounts. And I kind of wanted to speak on that, not because it's that important, but it started, oh gosh, almost like 11 years ago now. When I first started using social media, I still struggled with my body a lot. I wasn't into strength training yet. And I always had this desire to be more muscular and be more fit. But I also had a long standing belief that my body couldn't get there. And I didn't think that it mattered anything that I did would ever get me there. So I would just feel bad when I saw images of really fit women, but at the same time, I also found it like attractive, and so I would follow a lot of fitness women and women that just like looked beautiful. And at first it was okay because it was a bit inspiring, but over a period of time it started to just make me feel bad every single time. And it's not like obviously any of these women or influencers were trying to make me feel bad. It was my own internal thing, you know? And so I ended up realizing that I needed to curate my feed to something that made me feel good, that made me feel inspired, that made me feel like I was learning and didn't make me feel bad. And again, it was still my like thing that I had to work on and overcome. But I had to stop following a lot of those women because every time I saw that in my feed, it just made me feel really bad about myself. And again, nothing they were doing was adding to that. It was just my own mind doing that to myself. So I started curating my feed to be like, okay, what can I, like, what am I passionate about? What do I want to learn about? Or is it entertaining and makes me laugh? Or does it inspire me? Or does it teach me something? And so that's when I started being really careful about what accounts I followed and what for. And then I even went as far as setting a number of how many accounts I allowed myself to follow. And it was pretty high. Like, it was like 300 or 500 for a period. And this, I'm talking, this went on for like years. So it wasn't just like all planned at once. But the reason I wanted to share that is just because, like, I do think that we have to be careful with how much social media we have access to and how much curated content you're seeing. And when I'm saying curated, I don't just mean planned out and shot a certain way. I'm talking about heavily edited videos and photos. Like, people can use AI now. Like, you don't actually know how real some of the stuff you're seeing is. And to have also the constant changes of beauty standards. Like, the beauty standards that I grew up thinking what made you a woman and feminine are so different now. Before, we used to say that big butts were ugly and like unhealthy and gross, and now that's like a whole thing, you know? And so it's like, to constantly play the comparison game, you're just trying to keep up with weird standards that society approves for a short period of time, and you could cause a lot of harm to yourself in that short window of time because you're trying to keep up with some trend, instead of realizing that like you're uniquely you and you can make yourself as beautiful as whatever you think those standards are. And you need to figure out what those are instead of doing that comparison game, whether it's social media or people you know. And now I can say that I still keep my following low. And that's now more segued to the fact that I just have ADHD and I get stuck in a wormhole of scrolling if I'm following too many accounts.
So smart.
All I want to do is stay inspired by women that are just putting in the work, and that keeps me inspired. So I can look at really beautiful women now and really fit women now, and it's more inspiring than like makes me feel bad. It's just self work that you have to do. And like you, Shay, part of that was getting my nutrition on point, was getting my training on point, and starting to realize like, oh no, I can have a fit body. It just looks different than other fit bodies, and that's amazing, and that's great. And so it's like I get excited now, like you said, about comparing my body from last year to this year and what it could be in a year.
Yeah. I think too about the social media thing and being careful who you follow and what you watch is especially important in the fitness influencer space, because a lot of the people that you watch that look jacked in this, they're doing it in the perfect lighting. And I won't be too controversial here, but a lot of them are using steroids.
I was gonna say, I knew where you were going.
Yeah, like, and they're not a natural body. And a lot of people are selling to you that they're a natural body, and they're not, and they're on steroids. So that's messing with your mind, thinking that you can look like that just naturally. So just be careful who you watch and what you ingest through social media, because at the end of the day, it's your body, and it's not going to look like anybody else's body. It's going to look like your body.
Have you seen that? I don't know the handle. There's this guy on TikTok that's a trainer and super fit, and all of his clients are super fit, but he gets sent accounts mostly of female fitness influencers, and I forget what it's called, but he calls it like BBL or not or something. And he'll break down to you like why he thinks it is one or the other. And I think it's really cool because a lot of people do send in accounts of influencers who like sell booty programs and sell like apps and things like that, and a lot of them do have BBLs, and there's women out there just thinking if they do these little banded exercises that they're gonna get looking like this woman. And there's nothing wrong with getting any surgery that you want. That's on you. Do you. I don't have a problem with any. I have friends that have done different surgeries. They look amazing and they're happy. If it makes you happy, do that. But understand that, just like Shay said, there's people out there selling a body to you that's not real. And if you are in that comparison game and you're, thinking, oh, I want to get to those standards, like you need to know the truth of how the person got there. You just know that there's some people out there like faking it.
Yeah, for real.
Faking it. And don't
do your research.
Yeah. You don't want to be made felt bad by something that's not naturally attainable if you want to stay natural,
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. Good talk, guys. Good talk.
The point is we want you to love yourself.
Yeah.
And I think that you can feel great at any shape. Well, most any shape. I'm not, sorry, I'm a little controversial about the body positivity thing. I think there's a limit to that. I'm not going to get into that right now, but end of the day, if you work on your nutrition and you work on your fitness, you can feel great. Set your own beauty standards. Set your own beauty standard.
Don't let the world set them for you.
Oh, fuck the world. The world's insane.
Yeah.
You really want to listen to the world?
Literally.
Please. I feel like I'm ranting now, but I don't want people to get so caught up in trying to look like somebody else.
The looks of it all.
Nobody looks like you but you.
Which is very special.
It is. I know it sounds cheesy, but it's true.
Does, but yeah.
It's fucking true. Like, the sooner you can accept that, the sooner you're actually, like, people are stunning. So many people in this world are beautiful, and you just don't see it because you're too caught up trying to look like somebody else. And, like, why?
Yeah. True. Especially with women. Like, we always downplay the way that we look, and we don't give ourselves enough grace at all, and we talk badly about ourselves. We never see our worth. Like, women really struggle with that.
Yeah. One of my favorite things to do is like when I see a woman, and doesn't matter, maybe her hair looks great, her makeup's done great, or she's at the gym and she looks super fit, like whatever. I love complimenting other women when I really like mean it,
Yeah.
Because that like makes your day. I've had it happen to me too, but it's like I love doing that because for one, I really do appreciate it, and half the time I'm staring, and that's why I tell them because I'm like, sorry, I know I seem real creepy right now, but I just think you look great, you know, and like I love telling women that, and I love uplifting other women that way, and that's something I will always do because like I know how hard we are on ourselves, and some women like women tear other women down, and it's horrible too, and I just don't want to be part of that. And I think anything we can do to be more supportive of each other,
lift each other up,
simple compliments, or even like it doesn't even have to be about looks. If it's at the gym and you just see this woman crush some, you know, walking lunges, like I'll tell her because I'm like, that's badass. Like, you know, it's not always about your looks. Like I have other clients that I know that are like trying to lose a lot of weight, but like one I'm so proud of, she's been so consistent, and you know, in her goals she does have a lot of weight to lose. But the other day I saw her like during her workout and she was doing face pulls, and she had this look of determination in her face that you only see from somebody who has started to see results from their training, and they know that they want to make every rep count. And when I tell you, this woman came in not knowing how to do anything in the gym, she was not comfortable at all, but she was willing to learn. And to see that look of determination, and she has lost some weight. I see her clothes are fitting different. Her stamina's up, and it's just like, that is where I'm like, that is stunning. Like that is stunning to see somebody actually making progress and they're owning their health.
Putting in the
work. I think
work.
that's more attractive than anything else.
Yeah.
Physically.
Yeah. Honestly. It's all a mentality, really, and a mindset.
Yeah.
I think that's
great topic.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah.
And if you want to tell your story to someone who will listen, but you don't want to put it in the comments, you can always DM us too.
Yeah.
And let us know.
Our Instagrams are linked in the
bio or the description
box. I know.
Box.
I was going to say bio too. I was like, it's not the same. It's not the same.
Description box.
Yes. Yeah, please feel free to share with people who get it.
Yeah. Yep.
We love ya. Yee. Okay, y'all. We are now entering a darker mode than the last mode. Ooh, scary. Scary story time. That's the hand signal, just FYI. Shay has created the hand signal for scary story time. So, as per usual, if true crime just isn't your thing, we 100% understand. Your shorties timestamp their episodes so that you could skip this part if you don't want to watch it. And you should skip this part, but you shouldn't exit the video because we always play a fun game at the end and it's a fun time. So
you won't want to miss it.
You won't want to miss it. So skip forward to the little generation gamey
and play along.
And play along because it's fun.
Yeah.
But for my dark shorties, stay tuned because we are rolling into a very twisted true crime case today. This one, oh my gosh, literally my first note says, this one is brutal. That's brutal. That's my notes. Okay. This one's titled, Dad Helps Son Hide Dismembered Body. Sheesh. Sheesh.
Just off of the title.
Sheesh. Okay, this case is about the murder of Ashley Young, I believe was her name. The killer was Jared Chance. So, Ashley was 31 years old at the time of her murder. She was a really sweet, young, fun, kind, positive, forgiving person, just like a great person all around, a great friend. Her mom often referred to her as a miracle baby because her mom, Christine, was told that she wouldn't have children, and she fortunately was able to get pregnant and have Ashley, and so that was her miracle baby. In 2013, I think she was like mid-20s, like 26-ish or so, Ashley met Jared Chance through work, and Jared was kind of like a wannabe tough guy. He kind of came off awkward. He was constantly in trouble with the law and didn't really have many friends. So he was kind of like exact opposite of Ashley, who just had this great outgoing personality. She did have lots of friends. She grew up in a great family. When Ashley started being friends with Jared, no one in her life really approved of it because they just all got the sense like this guy is bad news bears, shorty. But, you know, Ashley just being the positive person that she was, she just thought, if I could be a positive influence in his life, if I could be a good person in his life, maybe he can change. Not that I can change him.
Yep.
Not that.
Yep.
A lot of people that knew him, they just described him as like bad news. He was crazy. He had a short temper. He was kind of wild. He was a bully. He had a short fuse. He was just a jerk. Like literally everybody just was like, that dude's a jerk.
Kind of for no reason, too.
Yeah, like out of nowhere. He would have, yeah, because there was nothing in his background with his family. Like he wasn't abused. The childhood was fine. In fact, he has a younger brother who was totally chill, like a
very
chill,
calm.
calm, nice guy. And a lot of people said that Jared would have constant mood swings. He would get in fights at school. And then the little brother, Conrad, that I mentioned, he would literally physically beat up his brother. Back in high school, Jared started drinking excessively, and he would even like steal alcohol from convenience stores. And he was also like a super mean drunk. And many times his parents had to call the police on him because he would just like get hella drunk, start like destroying property or being violent in the house. Two different times he actually even got physical with the police officers when they showed up. One time they showed up from a call and he headbutted one of the officers. And then another time he punched an officer in the face and they had to tase him 3 times just to like detain him. He was just crazy. He also once attacked his brother with a blowtorch and even threatened that he was gonna like, what did he say? Like shove it down his throat or light the flame down his throat or something just crazy.
And then he like pointed at himself and he's like, well, then I'm going to do it to myself too.
Oh, that's what it was.
Yeah.
He wasn't, not his brother's throat. He said he was going to burn it down his own throat. He was just psycho, dude.
Really
just crazy. Did a lot of drugs and he had to be revived multiple times from drug overdoses. One time his mom had to revive him. Thankfully, she worked at a hospital, so she like knew how to do that. He was in and out of toxic relationships with girlfriends, and he once even got arrested for breaking into an ex-girlfriend's house by trying to crawl through the dog door of the house.
So crazy. That actually blew my mind.
Insane. I know. Could you imagine?
No.
What if you were her parents and like you're just like eating dinner and this little dude, this little jerk
crawling through the
comes
door.
like what?
Absolutely not.
Yeah, I would definitely kick him in the head.
Oh yeah.
I would kick it. I would step on his fingers.
Yeah.
Little psycho.
He would not walk away.
So needless to say, Jared was a jerk.
A big scumbag jerk.
Jared was a jerk. And he burned bridges with anyone that he ever had friendships with. So he would like have friendships for a period and then he would just be an asshole and burn his bridges. And like I mentioned earlier, Ashley just really wanted to prove people wrong. She was just such a sweetheart. She was just like, no, he's just troubled, but he can be a good person. And like, let me just be that positive light and positive influence in his life. And I know that he can turn himself around. Jared, being the jerk that he is, even ruined that friendship. One time when Ashley wasn't home, he broke into her place, stole everything of value, and then sold all of it for money so he could get alcohol and drugs. And that's when Ashley was like, fuck this dude. She was over it. She was like, are you kidding me? I'm the only person that believed in you, that wanted to be your friend, that wanted to hang around you, that was nice to you, and you're just gonna do me dirty?
Even like stuck her neck out.
Her nuck. She nucked if she bucked, you know? I'm just rolling with it. Yeah. I got you, shorty.
Yeah, she stuck her neck out for him. Like, for her whole family didn't really like him.
Yeah.
And she's like, he's okay. Like, I'll change him. I'll save him.
He was a jerk.
Yeah.
I can't say it enough. I won't say it enough. I'll say it 10,000 more times. So, she cuts ties with him, moves on with her life, and about 5 years pass, and she runs into a mutual friend of her and Jared's, and they're like, hey, you should get in touch with Jared. He's going through a rough time right now. Like, surprise, surprise. Okay, when is Jared not going through a rough time?
Yeah, he was going through a rough time back then.
Jared is the rough time.
Yeah,
he makes
literally.
the time rough.
Literally.
Jared. Anyway, so for whatever reason, she's like, okay, let me reach out to him, see what's up. So they reconnect through social media and they start chatting again. So she was really close to her mom and she told her, like, hey, I'm, befriending Jared again. And her mom was like, not cool with it at all because she was like, hello, he stole all your stuff and broke into your apartment and sold it for drugs and alcohol. Like, why? But, Ashley was 31 at this point, so she just kind of had to be supportive and just tell her to be careful, and that was that. Jared was still being Jared. He was partying regularly, and one night on his way home from a strip club, he accidentally drove his car into a ditch. And the only person that he could call for help was Ashley, and he asked her to come pick him up, and she did because she's a good person, and they started hanging out pretty much regularly after that night. So finally, one night they had some plans to go out for drinks, and Ashley went over to Jared's apartment, and they hung out in his apartment, and they even invited the downstairs neighbor named Mario, and they just like hung out upstairs, probably did like some pre-gaming drinking, smoked some weed, I don't know. They just did whatever you do before you go out. And after a bit of that, they decided to go out. Mario went back to his place, that's the neighbor downstairs, and they went out to they went out to a hookah bar and then like a pub or something like that. When they were ready to call it a night, they still wanted to continue hanging out, but they were going to go back to Jared's apartment. So on the way home, they grabbed a few more like drinks and stuff like that to bring back to Jared's place. And the next day, Christine was supposed to meet Ashley for a lease signing for a new apartment because Ashley was supposed to be moving and Christine, her mom, was going to be her co-signer. So she couldn't get a hold of Ashley. She called like multiple times and got no responses. And she started getting concerned because she's like, this is a really important day. And like Ashley wants to move and we need to like, lock in this lease and everything. So she continues to not be able to get hold of her. And then she starts reaching out to friends and none of her friends have seen her. And then eventually she contacts one that's like, oh, I think she was hanging out with Jared. So she reaches out to a couple more people, gets Jared's phone number, and she calls Jared. And Jared doesn't answer, so she leaves a voicemail, and basically she's like, hey, I can't find Ashley. I heard she was with you last. I'm just wondering where she is. I really need her to call me because otherwise I'm going to file a missing persons report. And Jared responded right away via text, and he was like, oh, hey, she just left my place. She's supposed to contact you. I told her to contact you ASAP. It was all BS. We all knew that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so he basically stays in touch with the mom for a bit because she keeps waiting for Ashley to contact and she doesn't. And so she keeps following up with Jared. And one of the things that irks me the most was one of his texts. He was like, I would never, ever hurt Ashley. She's my ride or die. Da, 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 da. And that text was all sent after he had already done what he done, which we'll get into. So anyway, one of the other things that Jared said when they were communicating was he was like, oh, she's probably with this guy Demetrius. And meanwhile, he's contacting Demetrius being like, hey, if Ashley's mom calls, pretend that Ashley came over and used your phone to contact her or something like that. So Demetrius is like, okay, whatever. And then Christine does call Demetrius and he's like not going to play along with Jared's game. And he's like, no, I don't know where she is. That Jared made that up. Mm-hmm. So now Christine is like,
I would have done the same thing,
right?
Too. Yeah, like, don't drag me into this.
Yeah, please. I don't want your smoke.
Yeah.
You're a jerk, Jared.
Yeah,
you're Jared the jerk. I don't want anything to do with you.
Literally.
So at that point, Christine knows that Jared's lying and that he knows something about where Ashley is, and she just doesn't know why he's lying. So she does try to go and file a missing persons report for Ashley, but because she's 31 years old and an adult, and really the only concern that Christine has was that like she was ignoring phone calls, it just didn't really stand up to file a missing persons report. So she couldn't really do anything other than just like take matters into her own hands. So she finds out from some of Ashley's friends or maybe it was Jared, from what bars they went to. And she goes to those bars and asks if she can look at the footage from the night they were out. And thankfully, both the owners were like, sure. And so in one of them, she sees the pub that they had gone to as the last place they went to, and she sees Ashley leave with Jared. So she knows that they were together that night and that they left together that night. So after that, Christine and some of her friends, they start poking around Jared's apartment and where he lives, and they're like looking around the building, going through the trash. And the downstairs neighbor that Ashley and Jared had partied with that night comes out because he's like, oh, what are y'all doing? And they're like, oh, well, Ashley is missing. And also, like, we've been digging through the trash and we found like a saw blade, which is kind of disturbing. And Mario had already been noticing a really bad odor coming from the basement of the apartment building. So he doesn't say anything, I don't think, to Christine and her friends then, but he goes back in after talking to them and realizing that I keep switching their names up, that Ashley is missing. And he talks to his girlfriend about it, and he's like, I've been smelling that odor in the basement. The basement to the building was always locked and it was off limits to tenants. But at this point, he's like, there's a person missing. Jared's kind of a weird dude. He's made me uncomfortable a few times, like playing with his gun out in the open. And he's just like a weird dude. And so he's just like, I feel like I should go investigate what the smell coming from the basement is. So he manages to actually get in through an outside door. And he goes into the basement. And as he goes in, the odor gets stronger and stronger, like till it's like overwhelming. And finally, he sees a tarp, and he's not sure what it's covering, but he sees what looks like a big pool of blood seeping out from under it. So he digs out of the basement and goes and calls the police right away to report that he thinks there's, some foul play in there. So when he was interviewed by the police after making that call, he said that Jared once said some weird things to him, like that he knew how to kill someone and not get caught. And again, he also shared with them that Jared had multiple times made him uncomfortable by just like playing with his guns out in the open. Mario also remembered seeing Ashley's car parked out front, and at one point, it was like the next day after they had all hung out, Jared had asked Mario to help him open Ashley's car because he said that Ashley locked her keys in the car. So he did help him open it, and then he never saw that car again afterwards. When the police went to investigate the basement, they obviously found the tarp, and upon removing it, they found a torso. Just a torso. No head, no arms, no legs, no neck. Just a torso.
I was not expecting that.
How could anyone expect that?
Yeah, I thought it was going to be just
the body.
Yeah.
But it was just a piece. In the basement's furnace, they found a ton of unused ammo as well as 2 used bullets. And the day before this discovery, Jared called up his family and asked them to come pick him up. And so when they arrived, Conrad's brother reported seeing Jared put a bunch of things in the trunk. It was just like a bunch of stuff in like plastic bags. And he also asked for help to load a really heavy box that also had a plastic bag in it. There was like a mop and a bucket and some other cleaning supplies as well. And then Jared asked them to stop at his quote unquote friend's car to grab a couple things out of it that he had left in it. It turns out later this was actually Ashley's car that was parked at a random spot. They also made a few more stops along the way back to the parents' home. Conrad said that from the moment that they picked Jared up, he had this really weird, almost disturbed, kind of stressed look on his face. And that night, Jared had built like a bonfire out in the backyard, and he was sitting out there by himself, just still kind of being weird. And so Conrad went out to find out what was wrong, and Jared just confesses that he killed Ashley, cut up her body, and like dismembered her body and hid the parts. And Conrad is like, bro, you gotta tell our parents right now.
And so his dad is a police officer.
Or was. I don't think
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
think he was active at that
True,
point.
true.
But
He
yeah,
was
he
a sergeant. Yeah.
yeah, good point. So he does end up going inside the kitchen, confesses to the parents, and his dad takes him to the police station.
The
But
next day, right?
yeah, the next day. But they lived like a county over or something. So when they went to the police station, Jared first just said like, "Oh, I have some info about, this person Ashley who's missing." And the officers told him that he would need to go to the Kalamazoo Police Department because that's like the department that was handling her case. The officers did say that they were willing to speak to Jared and learn like what he knew, but then his dad was like, "Oh, well, I don't want him to speak to officers without a lawyer present." And they're like, "Okay, well, he's not under arrest, so if he has a lawyer, like we actually can't talk to him." So it was kind of like this weird like now no one can talk to each other.
And it was weird that the dad kind of suggested that with him being in law enforcement too. Like he should have known that would have
Yeah,
happened.
and maybe he was kind of throwing that caveat out to like, I don't know, protect him a little longer or
Yeah,
something.
something. Yeah.
But anyway, so Jared gets, and now that's actually a really good point. I didn't think about that. But anyway, so Jared gets frustrated and he turns to leave. And then the dad tells the officers, "You'll be like letting him walk out right now is going to be one of the biggest mistakes of your career." Like he's almost like confessing it. And I'm like, why don't you just confess it? And like, let's
Literally.
handle this.
Like, why does he need a lawyer if you're.
Why would you say something so cryptic?
Yeah.
Like, just be like, "Hey, he killed the bitch.
Yeah.
That's why we're
Literally.
here. I'm
Literally.
making him turn himself in." Like,
I think
especially
his.
as a previous police officer. Sorry, what were you gonna say? That's weird. It
It's just weird. Yeah.
doesn't
It's
make any
just like.
sense. And then for the cops to just be like, "Oh,
Yeah, like, okay, let him go.
doesn't make any
Guess it'll be a big
sense."
mistake.
If somebody said that to me and I was a police officer, I'd be like, "Okay, that's really weird.
You're under
Yeah,
arrest."
yeah, we need to talk."
Yeah, we're gonna take you ourselves to the other police department, I guess.
Something, yeah. I don't know
Yeah.
what the parameters are around that, but that
Yeah.
just seems weird and careless. But I don't know how it works. After they leave the police station, Jared's dad is like, "You brought all this weird stuff and we don't know what it is. You brought it to our home and we don't want it there anymore. So you need to take it all back. I'll drive you back to your apartment." So they get in the car, go back. The same day that the torso was discovered by the police in the basement, that actually allowed the police to also get a search warrant for Jared's apartment. And before they got inside, they found a mop, a black trash can, and a black trash can on the side of the porch, or on the side porch. Wow, losing my language. Lo sientito. In that black trash can, they saw two saw blades, a boot, a bathtub drain cover, more plastic trash bags, a bottle of ammonia, gloves, a pair of pants with Jared's name on them, and plastic wrap. In the yard, they found three shower curtain rings that matched the set in Jared's bathroom. In the stair landing, when they walked in the door from the porch, there was a pair of women's boots, a purple tote, a fan box, and a cardboard box with a shipping label that had Jared's name and address on it. Inside that box was a bag, and inside the bag were two female legs with no feet and two female arms with no hands. Inside the tote was a pair of shoes, a prescription bottle with Ashley's name on it, and more of those shower curtain rings. Inside the fan box was a roll of duct tape, a trash bag with stained bedding, and clothing. The clothing and all those other various items that were found in the landing all tested positive for Ashley's DNA. They were pretty much all covered with blood. Then they found a ton more evidence inside Jared's apartment, which I'm not going to list off, but the biggest point was that they found a bunch of DNA and human flesh, and later it all tested positive for Ashley's DNA. So obviously, Jared the jerk was arrested. Period. But it was still clear there was a lot missing, and I'm talking about Ashley's body. The police went to Jared's parents' house, and there they found a shower curtain that had clearly come from Jared's apartment because it had been like ripped down and it had the same like material and those shower rings that were in Jared's apartment. And they also found a small skill saw which had been hidden under their couch in their living room.
Literally, yeah.
I was like,
What?
did he just sneak it in there, or were they like, yeah, just put that here?
Yeah.
And then they found a washcloth that was covered in blood in the basement. In the trunk of the parents' car, there was that bottle of ammonia and some bags that were labeled Miss Tracy's Party Store, which was actually a party store near Jared's apartment. And the police were able to obtain camera footage from that store, and they saw on the footage Jared buying several of the items that were found in the trunk. There was also footage of him throwing a bag away in the trash can in front of the store, and they were able to obtain that bag from the trash, and that had more bottles prescription bottles with Ashley's name on them, a purse with her license and her school ID, stained jeans, and a hoodie that had a bunch of blood concentrated in the hood area. Ashley's car was also found on a random street away from Jared's apartment. Ashley's head, hands, neck, and feet were all still missing, and Jared was acting like he didn't even know how her torso ended up in the basement of his apartment building or how her legs and arms were found in his apartment. So he just was denying that he had any involvement in her death whatsoever, even though all of the evidence was all over his apartment.
Literally,
fucking crazy person.
Took no accountability.
So where it gets a little bit interesting is that without the neck or the head, it was not possible to determine the cause of death. But they think that Ashley was either hit in the head repeatedly or possibly shot in the head because of those, those 2 used bullets that were found. It was speculated that her head, hands, and feet were hidden to conceal her cause of death, but it could also be that he did that to avoid her being able to be identified, because you don't have fingerprints now, you don't have the teeth, and then you also can't find the cause of death either. So the defense tried to guess that perhaps Ashley died by accident and that Jared just got scared and tried to cover up the death because he didn't know what to do. I don't think that you think of dismembering people in an accident, but okay.
Yeah. Not buying it.
Hard pass. And in the end, Jared was found guilty on all charges. Thank goodness. I don't know how you could get it otherwise. Jared's sentencing was 1 to 200 years and ensures that he'll not be eligible for parole until he's 130 years old. So,
perfect.
Good luck.
Yeah.
With your health, sir. Doesn't seem you were on the right path anyway. So, I don't think you're going to make that parole hearing. But there you go. However, the story still continues because there was indication that there were other people involved in the murder. And guess who the 2 suspects were? Their names were Barbara and James Chance.
Mom and Dad.
Jared's parents. What? So the prosecution argued that the parents knew what Jared had packed into the car that day they came and picked him up. And that's why there were so many stops on the way home, like I mentioned. They think that those stops were so that he could get rid of evidence along the way, which is gross. It's also believed that due to James's background in law enforcement, again, that's Jared's dad, that he knew that without a head, the cause of death wouldn't be able to be determined, and therefore they wouldn't be able to put murder charges on Jared. But the defense argued that because James took his son to the police, he wasn't trying to conceal the murder at all, which is kind of fair, except for he only kind of did it half-assed.
He did it,
in my opinion.
Yeah, and he did it the next day, and then he brought up the lawyer, that he would need a lawyer, which he should know, like I said before.
Right.
That wouldn't allow them to talk to him.
Yeah.
And then he didn't even drive, he was like, this will be the biggest mistake if you let him go, but then he didn't drive him to the next police
why didn't
station
you just
over.
go to Kalamazoo?
Yeah.
Sir?
They would have talked to him with a lawyer there.
Yeah. So in short, both Jared's parents actually ended up serving about a month. I think the mom did 45 days and the dad did 30 in prison for being accessories after the fact. And then they both were on house arrest for a full year. Jared still won't tell where the rest of Ashley is, which is just awful for Ashley's mom. She can't just fully put her to rest. And people have speculated that the reason that he won't talk about it or say where those pieces are is because it could incriminate his parents. But that's just theorizing. And I think the worst part, which we already kind of talked about at the beginning, is that like there's no motive, like why he did this to the one person who tried to be his friend and tried to be good to him. And the like, because there was no sexual assault. There was like they just were out for a night of fun, and then like who knows, like he always had his mood swings and stuff. Maybe he just flipped. He had lots of violent tendencies. Maybe he just took it too far, but like there was no clear motive. Like no, I mean, not that there's any good reason to murder and dismember someone, but like at least if you find out there's a reason why, I don't know, maybe that can feel a little bit more settling as like the loved ones of that person who's been slain. But like that's like the worst part, is like there was just no clear reason why he did it. He just did it because he's Jared the jerk.
Literally. That's the only reason. And the family just gets no closure. They don't have her full body. There's no reason that he killed her. Like, there's just no closure there.
Yeah.
Whatsoever, which is just so sucky.
Sorry.
No.
I was going to say, if you decide to go watch the full episode on Tent to Life, which is always going to be linked in the description box, the mom obviously gets to speak to Jared at the end, and she gives it to him. She was like yelling at him. She's like, I want to rip you limb for limb and discard you just like you did my daughter. Like, she goes ham on him. But it's also like heartbreaking. But I'm glad that she got to like yell at him, and he just has his head down the whole time. But
he can't even look at her. But his lawyer is standing next to him crying.
Yeah.
Literally, because it's just like terrible.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
Horrible. So unnecessary.
Horrible. And the fact that he has a younger brother that came out pretty normal makes me, like, in my mind, question the whole like nature versus nurture thing. Like, are we born this way, or did something, circumstantial happen to make Jared this way? Like, nobody could really figure out why he was the way he was.
Yeah, because, he was just a jerk.
Right.
Like, he just made, like, bad decisions and stuff.
Yeah, and turning it into murder is, like, a whole nother level. Bad decisions.
Next level.
Yeah. Yeah, just makes me think about that. Like, was he born like that, or was he just... What happened to him?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
It's a good point. Huh. I don't know. What do you guys think? Leave it in the comments. Let us know what you think. Let us know if you go watch the episodes too.
Yeah.
We will always shout out Annie Elise and 10 to Life, because like I said, we didn't do this research. We watch her awesome videos, and her channel's amazing. So go check it out. She does not need our shout out at all, because she already has like millions of followers. Yeah. But we love her, and that's where we get all of our info from. So shout out to 10 to Life, Annie Elise.
Yes.
Serialously, that's her podcast.
Yeah, and if you watch an episode on there and you want us to cover it or talk about it,
send it to us in
the comments, or send it to us.
Yeah. Good call, because we'll watch them all anyway. But if you send us the ones you want us to cover, we'll do it.
Yes, we will.
Okay, great. My shit's not green. There it is. Go time. What was
I don't know. Don't ask. Don't ask about it.
All right, y'all. Now we're to the best part of the show, the generation game.
I like that.
So the generation game is because Shay and I have an age gap. She is 17 years younger than me.
Oh, I thought you were going to say I was 17 years old.
She's 17 years old in her face. But she's 17 years younger than me, so she's from Gen Z, and I'm from, what am I?
Millennial.
I'm from millennialism. So we play this game each week, and we show each other either pictures, or we ask about phrases, stuff we think that they might not know about because it's not from their generation. So, all right, this is hardly the time. What are we doing here?
What'd we find over there?
Yeah, I just washed this blanket. Ew. Okay, can you lay down? It's weird that you're like eating the blanket. Can you lay down?
It's weird.
Yeah. Get your butthole out of anyone's face or camera. Okay.
There we go.
I think we're settled. Okay. Sorry about that, folks. Okay, so I have 4 images for you today. Okay. And we'll put them on the screen so you could play along if you're a Gen Zer. And if you're a millennial-ear, you can laugh along. Okay, so this is from a children's movie from the 80s. Do you know what movie that is from?
It kind of looks like The Land Before Time.
It is!
Oh, let's go. That was my favorite.
I loved that movie
Yeah.
so much.
I watched, though, I don't feel like it was a movie. I watched like a VHS tapes of like episodes, I feel like.
Yeah, I think there was like a cartoon show that like was a spin-off of it or something, and then there was like different main characters that had like adventures too or something. But the movie is a classic.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
classic. That's why I was like, you might get that one because it's like such a classic one. But just looking at their picture, I'm like, oh, it's so cute.
One for one.
One for one.
Let's go.
Okay. Do you know what this is? That one.
Cigarettes?
Yes. So the funny thing about like my generation is like a lot of things were very literal, like we were kind of discussing with like language. So these are actually cigarettes for kids. They're fake cigarettes and they're bubble gum. And they would put powdered sugar like in the wrapping, so when you blew on them, it looked like smoke.
What?
Yeah. So if you look at, I was hoping you wouldn't read, like it's upside down, but if you look at the bottom of the
It
box,
says bubble gum.
yeah.
Yeah.
So there was like all kinds of fake
Oh.
cigarettes that were candy for us.
Did you like ever have one?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So do you light it?
No.
Okay.
No. It's just like it has powdered sugar in the wrapper with like a tube of gum in it. And so you can blow it so it looks like smoke. And like there's other ads for like, I don't know if it was for the King's brand or a different one, but it was like, just like Dad. And it was just like, because you know, they like thought smoking was like fine and like didn't even realize how dangerous it was. But then you would just take the wrapper off it and it was bubble gum. But yeah, so it was like, so
That's
you could
funny.
look like you smoked. Yes. That was
so
my
funny.
childhood. Ghetto as hell. Okay. Oh, shoot. I meant to edit this one. Okay, I'm going to hold my finger on it like this. Okay. Do you know what this is?
Oh, yeah. That's gum.
Yeah. Okay, I wasn't sure. I know it's been around forever, but I was like not sure. This was the original packaging.
I
so
chewed that when I played baseball.
it's a classic, right?
Yeah.
Last one.
Shoots and ladders.
Hey!
Whoa, let's go.
Let's go. You got all of them. Was that all of them?
I think I got all of them.
That's so
well, no, I
good.
didn't get the cigarettes.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, that was pretty good. 3 out of 4.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
3
That's
out
the
of 4.
best so far.
Dude, did you play Shoots and Ladders?
Yeah.
You did?
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh. So like this was the story my mom loves to tell. It would happen with a lot of games, but it's I think one of the main ones it happened with was Shoots and Ladders. So I would play Shoots and Ladders, and when I started like losing and not doing well, I would go, I'm bored. Like try to like convince everyone to stop playing the game because I wasn't winning. Like literally my ego of not being good at things started at such a young age.
You had to be the best.
I had to be the best, and when I wasn't, I would just be like, I'm bored.
Oh
Try
my
to act like, oh, I don't want to play anyway. That's why I'm doing so bad.
That's super funny.
Oh my gosh. I can't believe you got most of those. That was good. All right. Well, that wraps up episode 3.
4.
4. My bad. Episode 4, Quattro,
Yeah.
of a very cool podcast.
Let's go.
Thank you as always for staying till the end with us.
Yes, we love you.
If you did or didn't watch the true crime episode, because it takes effort to do either one. Because you got to skip ahead if you're not going to watch it, and if you watch it, you got to endure the crazy,
You gotta go
like
through
Jared the
all
jerk.
those- Yeah, you got to go through all those emotions with us.
Ups and downs, ups and downs. As always, like, share, comment,
subscribe.
And if you want to follow us on other socials, we have our Instagrams linked in the description box. We also have the episode to the true crime that we covered today in the description box. And most importantly, if you want to join us for our online coaching membership and community, drop your contact info. Your email address and your name is all we need. That's linked in the description box as well. That'll put you on our newsletter, so you will get first knowledge of when that is launching in February.
Let's go.
Let's go. Bye.
Peace.